Thank you. Good evening. Good morning. I am still awake. I have been following the elections in the US, so I have actually not slept. But my joy is that Trump has won, so I'm very excited. Um, but I'm very sleepy because of that same arrangement. I always wonder, some of that information which the lady has mentioned is old information. I think it would have helped to update. For example, I used to be the chair of Regent Group. I no longer am. So that I did before. I don't do them anymore. But as you've heard, my name is David Tanki. I guess the reason I was invited here is because I've been around for some times. I used to be a multinational actually. In the US and NCR, they merged at some point, and I was their business unit manager sometimes many years ago in the 1990s. NCR divested the unit that I was managing, and it was bought by Africans. While it was the American company, the value system was very good. There was no corruption. Everything was the way it is. When Kenyans took over, they became very corrupt. And I was a business guy. I was the one responsible for bringing sales. And I was the prayer leader in my church. So I pray, and then I am expected to go and bribe to get sales. And it really disturbed me that I can't live a double life. And we kept fighting. And I used to tell him that I don't want to do this kind of stuff. Why would you want me to corrupt? I am not that kind of a person. And I told him that one of these days I will quit. And he told me you can't quit because there are no jobs in Kenya. So you just have to do what. And sure enough, I protested. I quit. I resigned without knowing where to go, without without having money. I quit. It was a protest quitting. And after 3 days, I discovered I had done a foolish thing. That was 20 years ago. I discovered I had done a foolish thing. I should have at least prepared. I had a young family, a young wife from where Catherine comes from. Yeah, my wife is from Rabai, not too very far from here. And we had a young child. My wife was not working, and now I am not working. So it was not very exciting. It was a very stupid thing that I did. Then, because now I have no money, actually I even had a loan of 300,000 with KREP, which is now CDN. And this loan must be serviced. And I had used a vehicle to guarantee that loan of 300,000. And now I have no job, and I have a loan. Then I thought, what business can I do which, number one, doesn't need capital? And after combing through, I discovered the only business I can do which doesn't need capital is consultancy. I need myself as the capital, and I only need one asset, a laptop. The only trouble was I had never done it. I had never sat with people who had done it. I was getting into a field. I sold myself as a trainer. I had no training background. Life was tough. So I began in 2004 in those kind of conditions. 6 months down the line, I had been auctioned. Because of poor planning, poor preparation, I had been auctioned. The bank sent auctioneers to come and pick the vehicle. And you know the way auctioneers come, they come in a very rough way. And when they came, with a lot of razzmatazz and they want to cause havoc, I told them, what is your problem? See, you have just come for the car. He says, yes, where is the guy? I say, here is the key. Can you guys drive? Yeah. I had not driven that car for 3 months because there was a little fuel, but I didn't want to use it. So I told them, here is the car, please take the car and go in peace. They looked at me, the leader wept and said in their 15 years of doing auctioneering, nobody has ever cooperated the way I cooperated. And they told me, we don't want to touch this car keep your car. We are going to the bank to tell them that we are not interested in that business of that gentleman. My car was not touched. That car stayed with me until I bought a second car, and I gave it to someone who wanted to use it over December with his family. So now I started a business, Lanex Africa, as you have heard, 20 years now. We began on the 1st of March 2004 with very limited knowledge, zero skills, nothing. I remember my first training. I got a training with CIC Insurance. And I prepared some very funny slides. And I went there and read the slides, David M. Tanki. Then I'm looking at them, waiting for them to write. See, I've given them a point. So I read what I've written, and then I keep quiet. I'm waiting for them to write the point. So during tea break, one of the managers told me, don't you have anything else to say? You know, we can read what you have written. Then I said, what else do you want me to do? I had no idea. 2004. I want to let you know that by 2007, I saw the first 10 million like this out of the same business. Because now I had developed expertise, I had developed competence, I had developed courage, I had developed a lot of things, and we had also expanded our product lines. So we started with customer service and sales training 2004. 2009, 2010, we included finance and entrepreneurship. In 2012, we brought in management and leadership. In 2015, we got into outsourcing. In 2019, we began this business and money. And then 2020, Corona happened. And right now, what we've started this year is Africa Means Business, which is an annual Africa conference that seeks to catalyze the utilization of resources in Africa by Africans. Part of what has challenged me, ladies and gentlemen, is the thinking that Barclays Bank then, where Helen worked, was actually begun by one guy called Mr. Barclays. So it has become a huge organization, but it was begun by Barclays. Hilton Hotel is a chain of hotels worldwide, but it was begun by Mr. Hilton. Colgate, the one we use to brush our teeth, is a product that is known in every country in the world, but it was started by Mr. Colgate. The butter shoe that we all put on and our children put on as they go to school was actually started by Mr. Butter himself. So the moral of the story is that this company called Lanex Africa was started by me, but it has to grow. Because when we were in class 5, characteristics of living things, they all grow. We were told characteristics of living things in class 5, and one of the things that they all, but the other thing is that they also die. So it is up to you to choose whether your living thing dies or yours does what? Grows. Me, I have chosen growth. And the journey, of course, hasn't been easy, even as I talk like that, it's been tough. The journey of Lanex has not been very easy, it has been tough. While I was the chairman of Regent Group, we were celebrating 25 years. And you know, as a chair, you are the center of focus. So my photos, and I was being interviewed by all the media houses about the 25 years. But you know, Regent is not my, I was just the ARA picked it up. ARA picked it up, and photocopied every page that had my photo and my name on the Daily Nation and the Kenya Standard, and they created a file, a folder like this. And then on the second day of October 2019, they froze all my accounts. And I went to the office and they told me, nyinyi ndio mabwenyenye mnamaliza Kenya. Because apparently there was some tax issues that had not been paid by the company. And now, of course, as the chair, the supposedly meant owner of the company, had to suffer the consequence. And that is so now, if you register a company, you must declare who the beneficial owners are. Times, you could be the supposedly meant to be the owner of the company, as I was, but you are not the beneficial owner. You are holding the company on behalf of, and I was also holding it on behalf of some other guys. So it went like that. I'm just saying I'm telling you that to let you know that business is not necessarily easy, but it is enjoyable. I have seen this same company, Lanex Africa, go to Nigeria, go to Addis Ababa, go to Hargeisa, go to Zambia. I've seen Uganda. We've been there many times. So there is fun. There's good part. Okay? So that is the story of Lanex. Here in Mega country. So here goes out. Now, the other thing that I do is milk. I sell milk. But how did I get into milk? So unlike most people, you hear my story, it is not that, mine was based on research, those things that we tell people to do. No. One time I went to my village. I come from Narok. I went to my village. We have a few cows at home. And by good luck, the cows had all given birth. Cows give birth, eh? And there was a lot of milk. My mom had almost 100 liters of milk every day. And then the company, which I don't want to name, that was buying milk from that village, dropped the cost of 1 liter from 22 to 15. And they told the villagers, take it or leave it. And they disappeared for 3 weeks. You can imagine if you have, and in the village, everybody has milk. Now you have 100 liters every day because you must milk the cow on a daily basis. And you don't know what to do with this milk. It even reached a level where my mom used to cook ugali. Instead of water, you use milk. Because you can't be pouring milk. So I went home and found the villagers in that kind of a dilemma. I was very devastated. Now, I had a master's degree in finance, strategy and finance to be very precise. I had studied in many places, including Netherlands, where I went to do some of my studies. I had been sponsored by the company in the UK to go and study because of being in the American multinational. I was a very accomplished fellow, but I could not solve a village problem. A very learned idiot who cannot solve a village problem. I was devastated. And I looked at my mother, so desperate, and his learned son has no solution, to his village, to our village. I said there must be a way of solving this. So I went back to Nairobi. I started combing through to find out what does it take to do milk. What does it take? And then I found it requires a lot of money, especially when you want to do it from a far place like that. It requires a lot of money. Capital is an issue. But I said I must solve my mother's problem. I cannot have gone to school and then I'm an imbecile who cannot solve a village problem. So I mobilized a few of my friends. I said, look, there is a problem I have. Let's team up. We mobilized almost 50 million Kenya shillings and we started the milk plant. So today, we actually have a complete factory, a dairy processing factory. We don't have the equipment as yet, but we have 4 chilling plants where milk is collected from farmers and then it is sold to other processors as we trust God to help us. But we have godowns that we have built courtesy of that project. And now we are discussing with very many people to see how we can get help. But even as I say that, you may think it is, you have done so much. This has been 7 years down the line. Actually, 8. This is the 8th. Okay? This is the 8th. So it hasn't been very easy. I have had very many. But the good news is I am on a journey that will be accomplished. I'm on a journey that we will get to see the fruits. I draw a lot of inspirations from the late. Chris Kirubi said he doesn't know any successful person that has no scars. everybody who has succeeded has a lot of scars. I don't mind those scars. Centum, which is Chris Kirubi's baby as well. You know, we celebrate when we hear Centum is paying 10 million bonus to individuals, and they had 200 million to pay people. The story of a couple of years back. But they waited 20 years, 20 years to be able to get there. Why would I imagine that mine should just be a button that I touch and it works? So I'm very excited. Not Chris Kirubi, but James Mwangi, the seller who grew Equity Bank to great levels. At one point, he was not able to pay salaries of employees at Equity Bank, the mighty Equity Bank that you all know today. And by his own conversion, he will actually talk to the employees not to run away, because he will give them some few shares as a compensation for the work they are done. And a number of employees were given shares. So at the end of the month, instead of getting a salary, you are given a few shares so that they don't go. Today, Africa's greatest bank. So my journey, I keep looking at these Kenyans that are doing exploits and drawing a lot of inspiration from them, with the knowledge that I need to be able to go very far. I'm very excited about milk. And the reason is because I'm solving my mother's problem. Okay? I'm solving my mother's problem. In the process, villagers will be happy. In the process of Narok, he is the one who came to do the launch and the groundbreaking. In the process, the whole county is very happy. Okay? Because there is a man who is on the journey to solving his mother's problems. So I have, my case has been very exciting just because of those two things that I've been working on for the last 8 years for the milk, and for the last 20 years for Lanex Africa. I am trusting God that we will be able to influence what happens in Africa. The Africa Means Business conference and exhibitions that will be coming next year already has received some very good attention. As we are talking today, we have a Russian who has subscribed to come and showcase what they are doing for the benefit of all of us. The Belgian embassy, through the ambassador, has also picked it up, and they're actually mobilizing Belgians to also come. Tanki has done the same. We have South Africa that has accepted. We have Uganda. So we are mobilizing Africa to do more. And part of the reason really is because, and if you care to know, two-thirds of the world's manganese is in Africa. 90% of coltan and 90% of cobalt worldwide is in Africa. Okay? 35% of the world's gold is in Africa. We are so endowed that it only takes a stupid people not to take advantage of the many resources they have. So in my own very small way, as Wangari Maathai will say, my own small way, I will want to do my fair share by pulling Africans together and causing them to think, and you know, having them to discuss so that we can solve our problems. I had the opportunity to go to the US some times back. When I went to the embassy to look for the visa, I was very sure I would be refused, because I have been on record telling foreigners and Americans, to be very specific, that one day they will feel blue card to come to Kenya and Africa the way we feel green card to go to their country. We will not be fools forever. I see Kenyans feeling those funny things called green cards so that they go there. I have convinced myself that I must do my fair share so that this country called Kenya and Africa can be the delight where people come, not us going. Now, and I went to the embassy with that kind of background. I had talked so many times, and sometimes they tell me, you know, you can't be a Kenyan. Kenyans don't talk like that. I say, no. And there are more Kenyans who now talk like this. So I went to the embassy and they were questioning me. I told them, because I knew they will deny me. You know, they are sharp, they have a lot of intelligence. They told me, can you afford to go to America? I asked them, what does it, how much is a hotel in America? Okay? A 5-star hotel, what does it cost? Of course, I had done my research, I knew. I said $100 to stay in this kind of a hotel in this place in Rockville in Maryland. I can stay there for 2-3 months without blinking. Okay? I said, look at my statement. You know, they thought this Kenya shillings. It was in US dollars. Look at my statement. They looked at it and said, we are sorry, sir. Please, your visa will be ready in 5 days. It didn't take a minute. Why am I telling you the story? I'm telling you the story to say that if we take the bull by the... My desire for me is that every business you do... by the way, I don't know what you guys do. I didn't even ask my brother what you guys do. It doesn't also bother me. And the reason it doesn't bother me is because the end of everybody is business. The end. Because you will only be employed up to 60. And if you are a professor like my sister here, up to 74. What? You know, if you live up to 74, 75, what will you be doing up to 100? You will be having another 25 years on earth after you have retired. What will you be doing? So, business. Everybody will be doing business. So, you are relevant to what I'm trying to say. And therefore, my desire for all of us is that we will be able to do what needs to be done to nurture our small businesses, to become greater. In fact, I always tell people, and the Biashara Club of KCB, I started it. The Biashara Club that KCB is very excited about. And my quest was, we need to move people at the nano level to micro, and those who are in micro to become small, and those who are in small to become medium, and those who are in medium to become corporates. Everybody must move. So start wherever you can start. But in heaven's name, you must keep doing what? Growing. So that from wherever you started, keep going up. Keep going up. And as you go up, Pastor Kwake, who is a co-pastor with Wilfred Lai, a couple of years back, actually towards the end of the 90s, he said that his desire was kukomboa watu kutoka kuuza nyanya. So that kama unauza nyanya, utoke kuuza nyanya uanze kuuza duka. Na utoke kuuza duka uanze kuuza nini? Kuweka supermarket. You know, there must be transition. And that is my desire, that is my hope. And I pray that God will help to be able to transition. And I also pray for myself that God will help me so that these things that I tell people should also work for me. Because I came to discover that there is a lot of talking. A lot of talking. We talk too much. And we talk things that we have not seen. And the good book says that Jesus wrote things that he began to do and then teach. To do and have a crop of humanity that teach and they are not doing. They teach and professor. You know, last week I was speaking in a conference at Nairobi University. You are Nairobi University. I told those professors the same thing. Because there was some lady who was doing some poultry farms and whatever, and the place was packed with professors of agriculture and whatever. And then I mentioned and said, you know, it is so interesting that everybody outsources what they believe doesn't work. So the animal feeds companies, they tell us these are very good feeds for the animals, but they are not keeping the animals. They outsource the keeping of animals to some other people. Professors in the university, they teach us business, how to succeed in business, but they don't want to go there, okay? They don't want to go there, okay? But, and they outsource the running of business to people now, like you and me, okay? Because they don't want all those risks. But is that completely lost? No. We need to be able to find a way of working together. Their expertise, their research especially, can be able to complement what it is that we do in the marketplace, and then we can be able to now transition from small businesses to greater businesses, because we are working with academia that is responsive to the needs of the marketplace. not an academia that is also stuck in books. So I'm on a mission, I believe. I'm on a mission, and mine is a mandate, is a godly mandate. I am like a prophet that has been called to the nations because Africa must be saved. We cannot continue being the last, and people referring to us as a dark continent when we have Professor Sarah here and we have all of you here. We need to combine efforts so that we can be able to translate theory into practice. Because we are stuck at the theoretical level, we now must translate theory into practice and see how these two can be able to blend together and work together for the greater good of our nation, for the greater good of our families, and the greater good of what we do. Thank you so much.